Hey again, everyone. MarkRogersTV with our mid-afternoon early signing day report, or the National Signing Day report. We will be coming back in just about 45 minutes with Mike McDaniel hosting his National Signing Day special for the evening with a number of reports from our contributors across college football. So I just wanted to hit you guys up with some of my takes from National Signing Day. A few surprises, no major surprises, not a huge shakeup in the rankings because obviously, as we've talked about for the last 6 weeks or so, 80 to 85% of the players, whether you're talking about the top 100 or the top 300 or even across college football, with about 750 players signing in the Power 5, during the entire signing period, whether it be early or late. There wouldn't be a whole lot of movement because obviously most of the slots are already full going into today, but still some intrigue. So Alabama finishing at number 6, what does that mean? To me, that doesn't mean a whole lot. It does mean that specifically outside of in the past when they've been challenged, in recruiting, during this amazing run of finishing in the top, depending on your recruiting service, finishing in the top 3, certainly since 2007, Nick Saban's first recruiting cycle, that they haven't been challenged inside the SEC. There have been some great classes from LSU and Georgia and Tennessee, but not consistently. So now Kirby Smart has paired his number 3 recruiting class last year with what I consider to be far and away the number 1 recruiting class. Let me pull up the feed here. And so I can catch some of the chat online. All right, here we go. So in the middle of my thought here about the Alabama 6th rated recruiting class, the negative is that it's not, as it's been, far and away the best recruiting class. It's substantially lower, decidedly lower. Let's use that term. But at number 6, it's a paper championship. The number 1 recruiting class isn't necessarily 3 years from now going to be the best and most productive recruiting class on the field. If you get a top 10 class, you're in that realm of talent. You're in that talent pool of elite status to be able to continue your program, especially if you're Alabama and you're not building the program up. It's not Michigan from a few years ago. It's not Texas that's trying to build the program back up. Nick Saban is trying to maintain. Of course, he's trying to get better, but he's also just trying to maintain championship level playing. So the Alabama number 6 ranking, I think, is hopeful for the rest of the SEC. It's specifically hopeful for Georgia because from a talent perspective, these two teams rule their respective divisions. Could be a little stale and boring in the SEC for the next few years because these two programs appear to have it locked down in their respective divisions. Alabama versus Georgia, first week of December, Atlanta SEC championship game. My other takeaway is that Georgia's not just signed the number 1 recruiting class. It's by far and away, it's just an astounding class. Many of the late commits and signees that they received were flips. It wasn't just the culmination of a commitment and then finally get the signing on this first Wednesday of February. They flipped Otis Reese from Michigan. They flipped Justin Ross. Well, Justin Ross went to Clemson. They flipped Quay Walker. They flipped Quay Walker from Georgia, or from Alabama. Quay Walker from Alabama to Georgia. So it's astounding what Kirby Smart has been able to accomplish there with what I consider to be far and away the best recruiting class. The 2 cornerbacks started out the day as being the story. Cornerback with offensive tackle, quarterback, and defensive end is a prime position. There's not a whole lot of elite talent, and everybody needs guys who can cover guys downfield. You don't need 2 cornerbacks anymore. You almost need guys that can play safety but can play it at the cornerback level from a coverage standpoint. And so the 2 cornerbacks coming off from Plantation, Florida, American Heritage High School, Tyson Campbell, Patrick Surtain. Their signings, their decisions were key. Of course, Campbell goes to Georgia. There's another get for Georgia. And Surtain going to Alabama salvaged the day for Nick Saban and was a big loss for Miami. Miami was hoping to get one of those guys, and reasonably, Canes fans could have thought that they were in line to get one of those two guys, either Campbell or Surtain. It didn't happen, so it somewhat mars the conclusion of the Miami effort in recruiting this year, but the Canes still ranked around that number 7 position. NCIS Fanatic 21, Ohio State fan, disappointed about the loss to a certain extent to Georgia for the number 1 ranking, the recruiting champion for 2018. It doesn't matter. It's a great haul for the Buckeyes and Urban Meyer, and they got the offensive tackle. That's what you should be happy about, and that's one of my key points here. Ohio State getting Nicholas Petit-Frere, the number 1 offensive tackle, when offensive tackle is always a prime position, number 1. And number 2, this particular year in 2018, tackles were scarce. Ohio State got the best one on the board. We'll see how it plays out on the field. And then Justin Ross, as I just mentioned, flipping from Bama to Clemson. Almost everybody had him going to Alabama. He turns out going to Clemson, and so that was a tremendous get for Dabo Swinney to get Justin Ross, the number 1 player in the state of Alabama. Just wanted to hit you guys up with my thoughts concerning the majority of the day. We have a few signees yet to announce, especially from the Pac-12. Just in about 45 minutes at 5 o'clock Eastern time, we'll have our National Signing Day special. Mike McDaniel hosting with Ohio State coverage, Miami, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Georgia, Florida, UCLA, and more. So please check us out in just about 45 minutes. We are going to kick it off with Cam Underwood's State of the U on the Miami recruiting class at 5 o'clock Eastern time. Thanks so much for joining me. Of course, we're going to be talking about this for weeks in regards to the classes. We can only get to so many teams on the first day and the first night, and we're going to let it soak in. We're going to bring in our contributors and go through the nation and give you tons of team reports and analysis about these signing classes and how it all shakes out as we head towards spring football. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, of course, for the very best in college football coverage, and we will see you next time.